Welcome everyone to Monday.com's free training session with Achievan. We're just waiting for the rest of the attendees to join. We already have quite a few folks online, so thank you for joining on time. We'll just give everybody a couple more minutes and get started. Welcome for those who are just joining us. We'll give the rest of the attendees another 2 more minutes before we get started. All right, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us. We are Achievan, we are Monday.com's partner, and in partnership with Monday, we're hosting this free webinar for Monday.com users and also prospective users who are currently assessing the use of Monday.com. Today, along with me, co-hosting this session is Shweta Shah, who's a trained Monday.com consultant. So between Shweta and I, we will co-lead this session. Couple of housekeeping items. We're going to run pretty much the entire course of the hour, approximately 45 minutes to an hour for this session. We've got a quick intro about Achievan. Then we go into 5 key new features that Monday has just launched that you can use immediately that we're going to go over. And as we're going through those, we request that you follow along. Log into your Monday account and follow along as Shweta and I are sharing those new features with you. Next is in terms of how do you interact with us. On the left-hand pane of your webinar portal there is a Q&A button. So any questions you may have, please post the questions there. We are going to address those questions either through the webinar or in the end. There is going to be some polls as well that we're going to put out. So we ask that you participate on those polls. It just allows us an opportunity to get to know you better and get us some feedback. At the end of the webinar, we actually have an offer to share with everybody, which is a link to book a free 30-minute, no obligation session, individual session for you with our team, for you to review your Monday.com use case. And we'll post a link for that for you in the end, which you can click to then complete a form, and then our team will be in contact with you. So with that, think I had a small audio issue. I am back. Sorry about that audio glitch. We are Monday.com's premier partner, and as I was saying, we have successfully completed over 250 projects with Monday across the globe. We have 12 certified team members that are certified and trained on Monday.com for your implementation. We provide full end-to-end sales, service, and implementation services for our clients as it relates to Monday.com. So next slide. Our key difference as a Monday.com partner is that we always seek to understand your process and people side of the house first before we look at how to configure Monday.com for your individual use case. Our team has strong industry experience across many different industries, and of course, 10 certified consultants at the beginning of the year, and now 12 certified on Monday. We integrate Monday.com with a lot of different services, either be your applications in-house or external cloud-based applications as well. Next slide, please. As a team, we give 5% of our profits in time, knowledge, and funds to local charities. We have a North American partnership with Ronald McDonald House Charities, and we also support a lot of local charities across North America. Next slide. So today's session, now that you know a little bit about Achievin, is focused on 5 key features, as I mentioned. First is the conditional forms and conditional logic in forms. This is a new feature that Monday has just launched. We'll go through that. Second is dynamic mapping for file columns. Then item view permissions. Fourth, conditional color formatting for the entire row or entire item. And fifth is the number and timeline combo. For each of these items, we're going to first speak about the specific element or the specific enhancement that Monday has just launched, and then we'll actually do a actual demo/training where we ask that you follow along so that you can learn from today's session as well. All right, so let's get to the conditional formatting as our first element. So when and in cases where you use conditional formatting or collect data using forms within Monday, in the past, the forms were very much flat 2D forms where you would take information from columns in the board and then put them on a form to collect that data. You had the ability to have some of those fields as required fields, perhaps, and others as not required. And that's pretty much all we had in terms of flexibility on the form side. You, of course, can publish the form, right? Link to your customers or on your website or in an email to collect that data. But you didn't really have a lot of options in terms of doing some if then this type of a logic. So what I mean by that is that, for example, if you are collecting data in a HR type of a scenario where you have candidates applying for a particular job and you want to collect certain type of information based on a job type that they select when they're applying for the job, you now have the ability to change those questions based on a response to a previous answer on the form. If you are in an accounting field, for example, and you're collecting, let's say, invoices from your vendors and having them upload invoices to you using a Monday form, based on the type of the vendor or based on the type of service, you can now show additional fields within Monday for you to collect those additional data sets within that form. So with that, I'm going to now pass it on to Shweta for her to give us a demo on conditional forms.
Thank you, Amin. So for today's demo purposes, we have this board which is designed, which is a recruitment pipeline / job application. So here is the job application form. Basically, wherever there are job platforms, we can publish this form. And then whenever a candidate will see this particular position, and then they will fill all the details and they will submit it, all the data will be coming to this particular board. So let's say that I have this raw entry here. I am applying as a candidate, and I'm going to enter all the fields. And then I'm going to say social media. So I complete the form, I hit the submit button, all the data will be coming to the recruitment board over here. So what if I have a certain condition? I want that as a HR, I want that whenever we candidate selects social media, I want the another question to be pop up, like which social media platform. So then in earlier we weren't able to do that, but now with the addition of conditional feature, we are able to do that. So all we have to do is go to the job form here, right? And then wherever you want to add the condition, you go on that question. And then when you go on that question, you will see the include condition. So you just click that. You do that. Automatically, if answer is one of, and it gives you all the options above. So I want that if answer is social media, so I just hit the drop down here and I select social media. So I now framed my question that if answer is one of social media, and I add a question, new question, because I want them to answer that question. So I'm just gonna add a short text here saying that which social media. And then whenever I do that, automatically, if you go to the board, automatically a new column gets added. So by that way, now we will go to the job form and we'll just refresh this. And now we will see what happens. So all the fields remain same, but here when I check social media, automatically the question pops up that which social media platform, and the candidate can answer that. And when it's submitted, the data will be coming. So this is just an example for this use case, but according to your use case, you can add a certain condition wherever required on that form. Any questions? So going back to the next feature.
Yeah, there was a question by one of the attendees about the people column on the forms. If you include a people column on the forms, is that supported? So currently, people column in the forms wasn't supported as the last check. I know that's maybe something on the roadmap because you have to have the ability for Monday to real-time query the Monday.com database for it to pull all available people, and not available people, but all people on your account or shared, and then assign it. So that is not necessarily working as designed right now or available on the form feature, but that's something definitely coming soon. Okay, so let's go to the next feature here. While I'm explaining that, we're just going to put up a quick poll. So if you guys can take a couple of minutes to respond to that. The poll is all about what is your particular Monday.com use case. So I'm going to start that poll now. So while that poll is in progress, let's discuss the next feature, which is called dynamic mapping support for file column. Now, this is really a mouthful. And what this really is that in cases where you are running an automation, Monday has automation where you can actually copy an item from one board to the other. In the past, where you were able to copy one item from one board to the other, you were able to copy all the data elements, but you were not able to copy attachments or file attachments, if you will, right? So that became a cumbersome process where you had to download it and then upload it manually. With this new enhancement, the file attachments also move along with the item to the next board. So, for example, in a use case where perhaps you are perhaps an HR organization, and you are collecting resumes within Monday for a particular job application, and you have hired that candidate now as an employee, and you want to move over some of that employee data from the application board to the employee database board. You now have the ability to move along all the associated attachments for that particular employee into that employee database. For example, perhaps a resume that you would like to keep on record, part of the employee database. Another use case could be if you are managing projects per se in Monday, and you have associated attachments or project artifacts, like perhaps a project requirements document, or a image from a job site if you are construction, and you want to move that into another board that's perhaps shared with your vendor, and you only want to share certain things with them, and you're moving some elements over. Now you have the ability to actually move all those attachments as well when that data moves or gets copied, right? So you have a copy function in Monday, and also you have the move function. So it supports both of those. So with that, I'm going to pass the baton back over to my partner here, Shweta, and she's going to show us how that particular feature works.
Okay. So then going back to the same board, which we have already designed for this demo. So as you know, as candidate will apply, all the data will keep coming onto the board, and this will be like a recruitment pipeline board. So then, and then we have certain fields here also. Once the data will come, recruiter will work on those candidates. They will do the screening, and whenever the final stage comes, basically we will give them the offer, and the candidate will accept the offer. So the workflow which we have developed here is that whenever the offer gets accepted, that means the candidate is ready to join. Very soon he'll be employee. All these data, all his personal information will be will be copied over to the employee directory board over here, where it's like an employee database where we have all the employees, current employees, and their information. So for this purpose, we have used the automation right here. I'm going to go into the automation center. So we have used this automation which says whenever candidate status changes to offer accepted, create an item in the employee directory board, which I just showed you, and connect the employee with the column. So when we, as you all know, when you use this automation, we have to map the item in the background. So earlier we were able to map the item and carry forward the information like name, email, and phone number, all other information, but not the file, not the resume. So now with this new feature, we are very well able to take the resume or a Word file or any other document which candidate has submitted to the employee directory board. So, and whenever the automation will kick in, all the data will be very smoothly moved to the destination board, which is our employee directory board. So I'm going to just show you the demo here. So we have this particular candidate and he has passed all the stages, right? And then it's finally a candidate has accepted the offer. So let's hit the offer accepted button and then see what happens in our employee directory board. So you see, as soon as the employee has off, let me just give it a few seconds here, just refresh this. Yes. So now the automation is kicked in and you see this employee and all his details are coming here. Also the date of joining along with his resume file. So we don't have to upload the file required into two different places, but with one click, we just took the one action and both the places the data is reached. Let us know if you have any question. I'll take a pause here.
Please feel free to put in the questions in the Q&A section. As they're coming in, we're either answering them through responding back on the chat or responding them live here. All right, let's move on to the next item. Item viewing permission. Yeah. All right. So the third item that we wanted to share today is the item viewing permission. So this is a feature only available in the enterprise level accounts, but actually is a phenomenal feature that you can use and your team can use to be able to provide permission at the item level. So as you know today, within Monday, you can control permission in any account type. So any type of license you have, pro or below, you can currently enable or disable view access at the column level. Right? All you have to do is select the column. There's a little drop down on the column, and then you select the I option, and then you enable and disable that. So that feature has been there for a very long time with Monday. But the item level permission is something that was frequently asked. It has just passed through beta and is now being rolled out to all the enterprise tenants and enterprise clients. So what this is that, let's say you have a board and you have multiple items on that board, but you only want to share certain items with certain individuals and not with others for whatever reason that you may have from a business and use case perspective. So for example, going back to our HR example, if you have all the candidates coming into a recruitment board and the candidates are putting in their application, for either privacy reason or for focus reason, you only want to share the appropriate candidates with the hiring managers that apply to the jobs pertinent to that hiring manager. So you would enable item viewing permission, and based on the column called hiring manager within that board, the hiring manager, when they log into Monday, they will only see items that are essentially where they are mentioned as a hiring manager. They will not see other applicants, if you will, right? So that is a great use case for you to be able to handle. Another use case could be, again, back in the project management world, if you have a really large schedule of a lot of tasks, but you only want your team members to only see tasks assigned just to them. Same thing, you have the assigned to column, and then you enable item level permission. And when the team member from your project would log in, they would only see those tasks assigned to them and not necessarily the entire project schedule or the project Gantt. So with that, I'll pass it on back to Shweta for her to give us a live demo on how to get this thing enabled for your use case.
So now going back to the, give me one second. Going back to the same example here, the same board which we were talking about, the recruitment pipeline board. So in this, if you can see, n number of recruiters can work on all, according to the positions, the n number of recruiters can work on all these candidates. So if you see here right now, the 2 recruiters are working on this candidate. So with this item viewing permission, which I'm going to show you here, so you go into the board permission, and right now all the users can view all item in this board. So if you see here, this is the execute strategy ES login, and I can see all the candidates here. So with the one click, actually, I'm going to show you. When I enable this viewing permission, users can view item only assigned to them, and I'm going to save this. So because I'm the owner, I can see all the items on the board, but now I'm going to quickly show you how the other recruiter will see only the items which are assigned to them. So I'm going to go into the incognito mode here. Let me just give me one sec. So here I'm into another window here, and you can see this is my personal login, Shweta Shah. And now I'm going to refresh this board because I just enabled the item viewing permission. And now if you see, earlier I could see all the candidates and all the positions, but now because I'm working on these position and it is assigned to me, I can see only these two candidates and these two positions. I'll take a pause for any question.
Great, thank you, Shweta. There was one question about the first feature that we talked about regarding the file copy or file move along with the rest of the data of the board. That was a great question, so I just want to respond to that live here as well. The question was, once the item either gets moved or copied over to another board with the file, is there a link established between those two items so that when one item gets updated, the other as well? This particular automation is all about item move or item copy, and that's where the file copy has been enabled. This is not the automation where you can connect the two items and two boards together. There is another automation that enables connecting multiple items from one board to the other using an automation or using a link. And unfortunately, at this time, the files are not supported in that particular automation and a particular feature, if you will.
Now, going back to our next feature, which is conditional coloring.
Sure. So let's go to the slide deck and we can go to the presentation mode. Thank you. So I can go and speak about this for a minute, and then Shweta will do the demo of this. So conditional coloring for the entire row. So in the past, and if you are using conditional formatting, which is a great feature within Monday, in the past, when you were using conditional formatting, certain elements would not necessarily be covered under the conditional formatting. As you know, Monday on a regular basis adds significant enhancements, and they've added hundreds of different column types over the last year and a half or so. And during that process, conditional formatting not necessarily was working with all different column types. So what this new functionality and feature allows is that it allows you to color code the entire row based on the conditional logic format. And when I say conditional logic, so for example, one of the logic would be for those in project management is that when a task is complete, I want to put a line through the entire item. Now with this new functionality, it covers essentially the entire item before only certain column types, if you will, were supported. Another option would be back in the HR world, if a candidate application has come through and I have approved that candidate as a hiring manager, and I want to highlight that with a particular color, so I know that pops up right in front of me, so I know these are my shortlisted candidates. Same thing, I could put a conditional formatting and it would color code the entire item, if you will. Okay. So with that, I'll pass it back to Shweta for her to go through the conditional formatting.
So again, going back to the recruitment pipeline board. So let's say that we have to highlight only the offer accepted candidate. So let's say that for the demo purposes, I'm just going to highlight this as a new applicant, and we want to use the conditional color. So earlier we could use only the cell and only that cell will be highlight. But now with the addition of new feature, you can very well highlight entire row, and then you will have to just set the condition just like this, and you can choose any parameter to set the condition. So for now, I'm going to use when the candidate status is offer accepted, I want to highlight them. I can use different colors, or else I can choose a different parameter where position is so and so, and I want to highlight them. So then entire row gets highlighted. So this feature will be very useful when you have a lot of items and everybody will be working on those, and then you want to highlight particular information. So this will be very handy.
Thanks, Shweta. Shweta, can we use like maybe a darker color so it's easier to see? I know this, you've used the green color, but let's just choose maybe black or something so everybody can see that in action. Yeah, there it is.
Is this better?
Yeah, perfect. Right. So great feature to essentially change the entire item so that it really pops And you can set that color coding feature now using this new conditional formatting. All right, so we're going to go to the next feature, but as we wait to kind of get that going, we have another quick poll for you. We wanted to know what kind of different subscription levels folks on the phone have today for Monday.com. So I'm just going to get that poll going, because I know there's always this debate about, do I need the enterprise? Do I not need the enterprise? Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? A lot of our clients use the enterprise features. Huge benefit on certain use cases. You've only seen one enhancement today that has kicked in from Monday with the item level permission, which supported only in the enterprise. But of course, given the organization size and organization use case, enterprise may not always be that valid for everybody. All right, so now we're moving on to the next feature after this one, Shweta. Number and timeline combo. This is the last one, right?
Yes.
Okay, so last one, and we'll have a lot more time for Q&A, and then we have the offer to help you out with your use case one-on-one as well. All right, so the number and timeline combo, what it does, it essentially connects the numeric column type and the timeline columns within Monday together. And this is very valuable, especially with project management. So during the poll, a lot of you guys responded that you are using Monday.com for project management, which is great. So this comes in very handy when you are essentially planning the project and getting it set up. And during the planning cycle, you can automatically populate the timeline fairly quickly. And in addition, what has also been supported now is this combo column type is now also supported with dependencies within Monday. So you can have a dependency between two items and multiple items within Monday between tasks. So the numeric and timeline combo column also supports the dependency between the tasks. So what we'll do is that let's look at this live, because it's easier to see it live than to conceptualize it. I will pass it back to Shweta for her to walk you through it.
Okay. So for this demo purposes, we have this new project schedule board design. And we have certain groups here as per the project management practices: planning, execution, launch, and we have certain tasks under those umbrellas. So essentially, all the tasks are dependent on each other, and also we know how many number of duration they are going to take. So that's the idea. And then we have designed this task timeline, and we also have the status, estimated budget, and the actual cost. So now you know that we have to those many. So you see there are multiple tasks here, and then even if you know how many number of days each task is going to take, you'll have to go to each task, and you'll have to select the timeline. But now with the new timeline combo column, some of the timeline at least we can auto populate. So let's go into the column center. Under the categories, you can go into the combo, and then you have to search for the timeline and numeric, or also known as a duration column. And I'm going to add that to my board here. So when I do that, this combination of duration and timeline is added to my board. So let's say that I know that this particular task is going to take 3 days. So you see automatically my timeline is auto-populated. I'm just going to take some random numbers here. And you see only putting the duration, my timeline actually auto-populated. And then if you see here, by default, my timeline is auto-populated from the today's date. And then if you want to change this, you can very well change the date too. Now we know that, as I told you earlier, for this use case, all these tasks are dependent on each other. Until my first task gets completed, my second will not start. So then we can add a dependency column here. before that, actually, I want to tell you also these column will work vice versa also. So if I'm just going to remove this, if I'm going to say this will be as a 8 to 24, it will automatically give me the duration. So earlier we had to use the formula column to calculate the days between two. Or of course you can hover over and you can see how many days are in my timeline. But then if we want to highlight those days, we had to use the formula column. But now with the duration column, it's very easier. Now, as we know that these tasks are dependent on each other, so dependencies, if you have used it earlier, you know that it kind of sets the relationship between the first task and the second task. So I'm just going to add the dependency column here. And I'm going to choose my new timeline, which I added with the timeline combo, and I'm going to connect it with the timeline column. Okay. So now I said the connection between my task, and I'm going to define that this task is dependent on the first task. In order to do that, I will go to the reviews SOW, and I'm going to say that this task will be dependent on work with vendor. So until my reviewing of SOW happens, I can't negotiate and approve. So I'm going to set that relation to. Now you can see all my tasks are dependent on each other, and I have set the dependencies in this dependency column. And I'm just gonna remove these to show you. Okay. So now I know that my particular task is gonna take 3 days. So let's say that from today it will count the 3 days, and now I know that this task is for 4 days and 5 days. And now we will just give a few seconds to refresh it, and let's see how everything will adjust the date very smoothly. You see, because I set the dependencies and I added only the duration, and then because I have already set the dependencies, it has taken my timeline got moved to the duration which I have set. And also, if you have set into the hide from the admin section, if you have chosen to hide the weekends, for example, here, if you have chosen to hide the weekends, it will always skip those days, and it will calculate the days automatically.
Great. So thanks, Shweta. All right. Did you
any questions?
We don't have any new questions posted yet. So if anybody has any questions, please post them. So let's go back to the presentation and let's do a recap of what we have seen today. So for everybody's sake, just that's slide number 4, I think, or 5, where we had the list of all the elements. Yeah. So what we've seen today is 5 key new features with Monday. We wanted to give you enough to chew on so that you can, learn some of these things and try them out in your own use cases. We looked at conditional forms, so conditional logic in forms. Then we looked at the ability to move dynamically, move or copy a file along with the other elements of an item. Then we looked at item view permission, which is only available in the enterprise account to be able to control permissions at the item level. Then we looked at the conditional formatting, color formatting for the entire item or entire row. And finally, we looked at the number and timeline combo together. So those are the 5 things we looked at today. And if you have any questions on these, please post them. What we're going to do next is we're going to go to our offer for today for all our attendees. And what we're doing is that we're offering for the first 10 participants, so get ready to scan this QR code and fill this form out quickly. We're offering a no obligation 30-minute review of your use case with our team, where it'll be a one-on-one session between us and your team, where you get to share with us what you're working on, what you're building, and how we can help you in that review session. So if you scan that QR code with your phones now, Monday.com, of course, we use Monday for Monday. So Monday.com form will pop up, and then you will have the ability to quickly complete that form. The first 10 entries that come in will reach out to you, and then we'll book that session with you and your team, and look forward to connecting with you there. So with that, checking in to see if there's any other questions on what we have shared today, or anything else that you may have on your use case. We still have a few more minutes to go, about a 45-minute plan session today, so about another 5 minutes to go. So for those who may have a specific question on anything to do with Monday, we'll try our best to respond. Feel free to put that in the Q&A, if you will. So we'll give everybody a couple more minutes, and for those who want to scan that code, please do so, and go from there. Okay, we have a question that was sent over regarding there was a question. It's unrelated to what we shared today, but it's about work apps or work docs, sorry. Monday has launched work docs. So Shweta, if you don't mind just putting that up on the screen, and we just want to show that to everybody, what work docs is. And if you haven't seen it, it's available for everyone. And it's very easy to actually set it up. So all you have to do is click on the add button there on the top, right above the filters. And instead of adding a board or a dashboard, you would add a new doc, right? And then it would essentially, you'd name it, you would share it exactly how you would share a board. And what Work Docs is essentially, think of it as a Microsoft Word document or a Google Doc, but with a whole bunch of amazing features that Monday has. So you can actually embed Monday elements into the document. You can put in a chart, you can put in a widget, you can put in a table, lots of options. And what this is, you can set up the layouts as Shweta is looking at it. Each component is like a module, and you can set up these work docs to share with your team. So for example, in case of project management, a lot of times we write documents like requirements document if you're in IT, or if you write a document regarding a project charter, for example. Up until now, you had to do them outside, either in Google Docs if you're on the Google platform, or in Microsoft Word if you are in the Microsoft Office platform. And now you can bring all that into Monday and have within your workspace of your project, have your work docs in there as well. So all associated project artifacts like the charter or a requirements document, all within that. Another key use case will be what Shweta is showing there, is that you can actually embed Monday objects like a Gantt chart or a chart. So a lot of times organizations have a requirement internally to provide project status updates, for example, in a clean looking document format, which can be PDF'd and sent over. Well, now you can do that rather than sitting down and writing up a status report in a document. You can now have it set up with live links from Monday through various widgets, and then it gets updated as your project gets updated, as your board gets updated, this information gets updated. You can then add notes, as Shweta is showing at the bottom there, right? So you can put contextual notes about the project status, show the Gantt chart on the top, timeline on the top, and some charts on the top, and then put some commentary and notes, and then download it in PDF and ship it away to your stakeholders, right? So really, really powerful feature of Work Docs, and I'm glad that that somebody asked this question. So we wanted to cover that. The one last question that has just come up now, I'm going to go to that. Are we able to generate a QR code like you did for our team? Access the forms here. Shweta, the QR code isn't available here in the forms build out feature for Monday, I don't believe, right? But the way we generate it is that essentially you just go to a free QR generator. So you just Google free QR generator. We use our marketing tool that generates it for us. So we can track the link, but you can go to freeqrcodegenerator.com or free QR code generator. You just pop in the form URL that Monday gives you, and then boom, out comes a QR code that you can use. So yeah, feel free to use that. Of course, QR code is actually now the most used component, and it's easy in settings like these. Rather than typing in the URL or copying and pasting, you just scan it. A lot of our clients use it with their team members. As people are coming back in the office, they have QR codes along the buildings where you can do a check-in or a safety assessment. We've got construction clients who actually use it on the job site. So really easy way to communicate with the teams and engage them back into Monday. So so great. Yeah, let's see if there's any other questions. All right, no other questions. Well, thank you then. We're just at our time here. So what we'll do is we'll take your leave. We truly appreciate your time. Please stay engaged with us. We will send out the recording of the webinar by tomorrow, along with the survey link. So we appreciate your response to that. And there will also be a link in there for you to join our Monday.com community on LinkedIn. We have, in partnership with Monday, we have a LinkedIn user group that we manage and keep up to date. So whenever there's a new feature, we always post something there. So please connect and with that user group and request to join, and we will go ahead and approve that request. So when you get that email tomorrow, look out for that link. You can always just Google just go on LinkedIn and say Monday.com user group, and then our user group is there, and feel free to join that as well. But definitely looking forward to staying connected with you. We intend to do these sessions more often, and would love to have you join them. Thank you, everyone, and look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.
Bye.